So today our topic is compression member from steel structure. In last uh, video sessions, we have completed the tension member. So tension member and a compression member both are axial members. So uh, today we have to start this compression member, and in this compression member chapter we will learn how to design a compression member. Okay, so there are many uses of this compression member in our structural design or in our practical construction. Okay, so now what is compression member? So ideally a compression member is a member when the member is subjected to purely axial compression force. Okay, so in this line what I have told you ki the member should be subjected to purely axial compression. Okay, so everything is hidden here. The total concept is hidden here. Okay, so if the axial force, if the force is not purely axial, then there will be lot of problems. Okay, and there will be problems, and that's why we are as a civil engineer we are here to solve that problem. Okay, so now let us come to our topic. So suppose I have a compression member. Okay, so now this in this compression member the member should be subjected to purely compression. That means like this. Okay, so purely compression means what? Purely compression means suppose this section is a rectangular section and the CG of this section is this. So purely axial member means the loads which are acting as a compression, it should act through the CG of this member. That means CG of the load should coincide with the CG of the cross section. Okay, so this is the ideal case. So when this ideal case will be disturbed, then what will happen? So suppose in this member we are applying a force here. Okay, I hope you can see. So if we apply a force here like this, then what will happen? So it will create a bending moment at this cross section. That means the CG is here, the geometric CG is here, and load, the CG of the load is here. So there will be some eccentricity. Okay, so that will be this eccentricity, and due to this eccentricity there will be some bending moment like this. Okay, so if I draw it here, so it will be like this. So what is the role of this bending moment? This bending moment will try to bend that compression member in the transverse direction. So this is the axial direction of the compression member. Now this bending moment will try to bend this compression member in the transverse direction. So that means this moment is displacing this member from its axis. So this displacement or the deflection of the compression member from its axis is called buckling. Okay, so the buckling comes into the picture when the loading CG, the CG of the load or and CG of the load and CG of the geometry does not coincide. Okay, so if the member does not have any eccentricity, that means if the force is applied purely in axial direction, that means if the two CG coincides, then there will be no possibility of this buckling. Okay, so the every cross section, here in this member will be subjected to purely axial compressive stress. Okay, that means if the material have to fail, then it will fail by the material failure. That means if I draw the stress strain curve of the material, suppose this material is a mild steel. Okay, so let us draw the stress strain curve of mild steel. So it will be like this. Okay, so this is the yield stress. Okay, so what I am saying, if the force is purely axial, then the member will certainly fail by the material failure. That means stress, if we increase the load with time, then the stress will also uh, stress will also increase, and at some time the stress will be more than sigma y, more or equal to sigma y. That means material has reached the yield stress, and if we also go on increasing this load, then the stress will be more than this sigma y. That means the material will fail. Okay, now if there is some eccentricity, and due to that eccentricity, okay, the member may fail below the yield stress. That means if there is some eccentricity, then the stress in the material may not reach the yield stress, but it may fail. Okay, it will fail like this. So the moment we will try to displace the member, and it will displace in this axial direction, so there will be some axial displacement. So this displacement, that means this failure is geometric failure. Here it was material failure, but here when the stress has not reached the yield stress, but there is some buckling, there is some displacement of the member from its initial axis, and this displacement is failing this member. Okay, and this failure is happening when the stress in the member is not reached this yield stress. Okay, so the member is this type of failure is called geometric failure, and this type of failure is called material failure. Now, so I hope you have understood. For compression member, material failure is not the only thing which governs the compression member design. Okay, so the stability is a main factor for designing the compression member. So in this case, when there is a buckling, the stability is not fulfilling our serviceability. Okay, there is no stability in the member. So stability here plays an important role in case of compression member. So I suppose you have studied about stable equilibrium, neutral equilibrium, and unstable equilibrium. So uh, these topics were in previous semesters, I hope. So in stable equilibrium, that means if the member is in stable equilibrium, and we are applying some load, okay, then there may be some deflection. Okay, and if we remove this load, it will regain its initial position. Okay, so this phenomenon is called the stable equilibrium. Stable equilibrium. Okay, when we withdraw this load, this member will regain its initial position and shape. Okay, now there will be some cases when this we are withdrawing this load, but it is not uh, regaining its initial position. Okay, it is neither displacing or to in this direction, or not in this direction, so it is maintaining its shape when P was acting. Okay, that means it is neutral. Now there is another one that is unstable. So if this P has reached a certain value, where if we remove this, okay, if we remove this, so if we remove this, so this member does not regain its initial shape. Okay, so we do not generally withdraw this load uh, in at one instant. We reduce that load. Okay, so if we reduce that load, okay, there is no sign of regaining in case of unstable equilibrium. But if we reduce this load, okay, then it will neither regain or nor displace more, that is neutral. Okay, here if we reduce the load, okay, then it will try to regain, it will go in the equilibrium directions positions. Okay, so I think there is some confusion about this. So to clear this confusion, let us take an example. Suppose for this particular member, P shear is the buckling load or crippling load. Okay, so if this P, if we are applying some load and that load is less than P shear, okay, then it will regain its initial position. Okay, so if this P becomes more than is equal to P shear, then it will remain at that position only. Okay, it will neither displace in this direction nor displace in this direction. That means it will maintain that position. That means movement will stop. Okay, here if we don't reach this level, okay, and if we reduce, then if we reduce this load, it will try to regain. Okay, it will regain obviously if it is stable, if it is in a stable equilibrium. Okay, if it is in neutral, that means if the load has reached this value, then it will remain in that position only, so movement will stop. Okay, and if this P is greater than P shear, and if we, after reaching this P shear value, if we reduce this P, so there will be no sign of regaining, it will again displace more, like this. Okay, so that is unstable equilibrium. So far we have studied our analysis. We have been limited to this stable equilibrium. So we have always studied that equilibrium condition. So that means our equilibrium condition was the stable equilibrium condition. So we have not studied this unstable equilibrium condition. Okay, so here in case of compression member, so stability is most important thing. You should be careful about the stability. Okay, now buckling may be of okay, due to technical problem, camera was stopped. So I have written a lot of things here, so let me explain. uh, so buckling will be of two type. Okay, first one is elastic buckling, and it will be seen in long column, and second one is elastic buckling, and it is seen in intermediate column. Okay, now you should understand what is elastic buckling. So elastic buckling means in case your compression member is buckling due to this load P. Okay, then so this load will create some stress on that member, and that stress will be much lower than the yield stress. Okay, so this sigma due to this buckling load is less than this sigma y. That means the stress is coming within this linear portion, within this elastic portion. So uh, but uh, even though the stress has not reached crossed this yield stress, the material or the member is failing. So this phenomenon can be seen in long column. when the member is long enough. So in that case, stress does not reach to the yield stress, but member fail before reaching this yield stress. Okay, so this is elastic buckling. And next one is inelastic buckling. So it is seen in the intermediate column. That means those column which are shorter than this long column. Okay, that means the length of the, or the height of the height of the compression member is not that much more. Okay, so in that column this inelastic buckling is seen. Now what is this inelastic buckling? So in this case some fibers on the cross section reach the yield stress, or some fibers in this cross section may cross this yield stress. That means stress is reaching or crossing this elastic portion, and then the member is failing by the geometric failure. Okay, so it is not material failure. So we can say the member is failing due to the material failure only when the total cross section is failing due to the stress reaching the yield stress, or stress crossing this yield stress. Okay, so here in this case, in this inelastic buckling, some fibers in this cross section is crossing this yield stress, but lot of members or maximum part of this cross section has not reached this yield stress. Okay, but the member is failing due to the buckling. So this is called inelastic buckling. And okay, so this elastic buckling is seen in the long column, and sorry, elastic buckling is seen in the long columns, yes, and inelastic buckling is seen in the intermediate column. So what about this short column? So in this short column, so if the height is very small, okay, then we are applying some loads, then uh, there is very less chances that the member will buckle. Okay, that means if we are applying the load and increasing the load, there will be a time when this stress will reach, or stress on every fiber will be more than this sigma y. Okay, so each and every fibers on this cross section will reach this sigma y, that means yield stress. That means the material will fail, okay, before the geometric failure in case of short column. So short column does not fail by geometry, it fails by the material failure, and long column fails by the geometric failure. Okay, you have to remember these three things. Okay, this part is also important. Now this long column, intermediate column, and short column, how can we specify these, or how can we identify this? So these are identified by a number. I think you know, that is called slenderness ratio. Okay, so slenderness ratio is the ratio of effective length by the least lateral dimensions. Okay, so we will I will explain that part in next sessions. Okay, but before that, you should also understand that the compression member is most critical than the tension member. Now this part is very interesting to understand. Okay, suppose there is a compression member, okay, and there is a load, okay, and there is no eccentricity. That means the load is uh, applied on the CG of the cross section, but practically no material is perfectly homogeneous. Okay, so if it is perfectly homogeneous, then there will be only axial stress. So in that case, member will fail only by the reaching the yield stress. Okay, only by the material failure in case of perfectly perfectly homogeneous material. Okay, but if it is not perfectly homogeneous and we are applying the load in the CG of this cross section, then the member can also buckle. Okay, so suppose there is a little buckling or little deflection, like very small amount. Okay, so if there is a small amount of deflection, what will happen? This load P, suppose I'm considering this section. Okay, so this load is is being applied on these lines. Okay, and member has a displacement about of this amount here in this cross section. Okay, this amount. Now what will happen? Load is passing through this line. Now section is this, so there will be some bending moment on this cross section. Okay, so bending moment will be created when this displacement is initiated. Okay, so now with this bending moment, okay, member has buckled due to this load P, due to the non-homogeneous material. Now this buckling has created some bending moment due to this displacement, because this load is passing through this line and there is some displacement, so it has created this bending moment. Suppose this is M. Okay, now this bending, what will be the role of this bending moment? So this bending moment will again try to bend that beam, or sorry, not the beam, no, it is compression member column. So this bending moment will again displace this column or displace this section in this direction. So again the displacement will be more, or the buckling will be more. Okay, so if the buckling is more, suppose now the in the next time, so this is the deflection. Okay, now the load is passing through this line. Okay, so the bending moment here will be how much? This load into this distance. Okay, suppose initially this distance was E1, and this distance now is E2, and E2 is more than E1, so the bending moment will also increase step by step. That means in the next phase, bending moment M2 is equal to P into E2. Initially this M was P into E1. Okay, so again this bending moment will try to bend that member in this direction. Okay, again this there will be some much more deflection, much more buckling, and this buckling will also create this bending moment. So this is a progressive process. So that's why the study of this compression member is much more dangerous and much more critical than the tension member. Okay, it's suppose there is some eccentricity. Okay, and or maybe there is some non-homogeneity in the material, then that defects will lead to progressive failure of the compression member. Okay, so I hope you have understood these concepts. Okay, and if you have not understand or sorry, if you have not understood this topic, then again you can consult with book, or you can contact me on my phone number. Okay, so so uh, okay, let us finish this lecture here. Thank you. So we'll continue from this part on the next sessions. So we'll cover this effective length, this slenderness ratio, and lot of other things which are very interesting to understand. Okay, so thank you very much.